All right, Pickle. Let's talk a little college football.
Okay.
Let's talk a little college football. And we have talked a lot in the past couple of years here on this show about all of the things in college football that aren't football. Mm-hmm. Specifically conference realignment, specifically TV deals. It does seem like being a college football fan these days, at least like an online college football fan and somebody who keeps track of things, requires you to have like a PhD in a variety of different topics, whether it's like television contracts or economics or sociology or,
And even more than that, like just being able to comprehend the amount of rules.
Yes.
Because there is so many rules. There are so many rules.
And we made a point, I think I made the point when we were in the Bachelorette pad a couple of weeks ago, that I look at the state of college football right now and the way that it's trending, and I am pretty concerned about it from a viewership perspective and from like a fan perspective. I think there's a lot of things that have happened in the past couple of years that are ultimately going to make for a worse product writ large for college football writ large. Now, I want to be clear. For Michigan and
Things are
for
going just fine.
USC and for Texas, no notes. Things are probably going pretty well for you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
But I would say that if you are somebody who enjoys the whole hog, if you want it from rooter to tutor, right? As a friend of mine is fond of saying.
I was gonna say there's a lot of phrases being used today.
Then I think that the health of the sport is in peril. When you take a look at the way that the college football playoff is expanding, now you can argue if you think the college football playoff should be expanded, it shouldn't be expanded, it should expand more, it should contract, whatever you think, that's fine. But the way the conversation has been shaped has been almost exclusively about getting more power teams in the playoff, getting more brand names in the playoff. These conversations about expanding the playoff are not about finding a way to get Troy into the playoff.
No.
They are about finding a way to get Penn State into the playoff. They are about finding a way to get a 9-3 Mississippi State team in the playoff.
Yep. Florida State.
Florida State, right? This is not, right now, it is, I think, being laid bare, something we've been talking about, quite frankly. I'm not here to toot our own horn, but toot. We've been talking about this for like 3 years.
Oh, yeah, because it was evident prior to the expansion of the playoffs. With the creation of the playoffs in and of himself, it was clear that there was fixing to be not only this divide that everyone knew about to where they're separate names, it was about to part the Red Sea.
Yeah.
The gap was fixing to be the Grand Canyon.
It was. And you're seeing that more and more. And there is a question of basically which side of the gap you're on. Now, there are some teams that I think we can all agree are going to be in the upper echelon. In this new, when you take a look at the new world order of college football, Texas and Oklahoma and A&M don't have anything to worry about. Oregon doesn't have anything to worry about.
No.
Michigan and Ohio State don't have anything to worry about. Conversely, there are a fair number of teams on the other side that I think they understand their role in the college football landscape, and it ain't with Ohio State.
Nope.
Okay? Respectfully, Sam Houston, UTEP, right? There are those programs that, especially I look at like Conference USA, the MAC, the Mountain West, a few of those conferences that are just like, they are not going to be in the upper echelon of the sport.
No.
Whenever the sport
They're not
settles.
even going to be in like this weird gray area mid section, which is really where the divide is starting to happen.
That's where it gets interesting. Because to me, what do you do with the Big 12? Right? Is the Big 12, because it's going to settle somewhere, does the Big 12 end up falling closer to the SEC?
Yeah.
Or does the Big 12 end up falling closer to Conference USA? It's a spectrum, right?
Right.
But there is a hard divide coming.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there is the gap. You mentioned the Red Sea. The gap between the haves and the have-nots is growing.
Mm-hmm. And I think another conference that's right on that teetering line would be the ACC. Because take SMU. If you want to put this in the terms of Texas College, take SMU as an example. They moved from the American, which was in the upper echelon of Group of 5 for a long time.
It was the best Group of 5 conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they kind of led that for a while. They were in a league of their own, and then they moved to the ACC. And you're thinking, all right, finally, Houston, same way. Finally get to the Big 12. We've made it. Now it's like,
So, like, Houston shows up in the Big 12 as Texas and OU are leaving.
Yep.
Right? Now, the Big 12 has sturdied its ranks, at least in numbers, bringing in Colorado, the Arizona schools, BYU,
yeah,
et cetera, Utah, et cetera. For SMU, they show up to the ACC, and now Florida State and Clemson are both basically suing the ACC to get out of the ACC.
Yep.
And my question is, look at these two pictures.
Yeah, they're
Tell me
the exact same
difference.
picture.
It's the same thing. The two most powerful entities, at least from a football perspective. And I know we just got done with college basketball, and congratulations to Mallory Hartley and her UConn Huskies for winning the national championship. But when you talk about college athletics, we have to be honest and intellectually honest about this. Football is what's driving the show.
Oh, yeah.
It's
monetarily, there are
not
numbers
close.
that you can prove it. Like,
not close.
Not up for debate.
And so I understand North Carolina is very good at basketball. That's cool.
That's a singular school.
That doesn't move the needle as far as a TV deal is concerned, which is ultimately what this has happened. I want to direct you to an article that they have up on Yahoo from about, when was it? From February 19th. From Ross Dellinger, who I think is a really, really smart, sharp reporter. He wrote a story, basically. The headline is, as college football's elite is engulfed in a power struggle, G5 left just trying to survive. And that is ultimately what happened. There's a great quote, I think, from Jamie Chadwell, who's the head coach at Liberty. He said, quote, "We're a farm system. No matter who you are, you're going to have to try hard to hold on to your top players. That gets taxing. We are taking the approach that if a freshman plays and he does well, we're only going to have him for one more year," end quote. These are the stakes of what G5 is doing. And we can certainly have a conversation as to how much Ohio State has in common with Southern Miss. I get it. But for now, theoretically, they were in the same boat. I don't think that's going to be the same going forward.
No, because it's almost like you're having to go through two high school recruiting systems if you're not in the upper echelon of five-star athletes. The other side of that, too, is a G5 program now will never, ever get to the level of being good enough to send someone to a playoff because they're just a farm system at this point.
That's exactly right.
They're just a stepping stone to, okay, you're a 3-star coming out of high school. Let's get you in a weight room. Let's get you bulked up. Let's get you on a health plan. You get bigger. You get to go play at Alabama in 2 years.
I want you to think about a team. Let's take UTSA as an example. UTSA, when Jeff Traylor arrives, he recruits well. He develops well. They win, and like there was that, you can see that the way that process builds, and now the program is going well, right? But there was a seed, it grew out of it, it continued to blossom, right?
Yes.
I'm here to tell you that UTSA might be the last program to ever do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that these group of 5 teams are going to consistently struggle to get quality players. They're going to consistently struggle to hold on to quality players. And as a result, there is an argument to be made that they are better off just splitting off entirely from those power conferences and just saying, all right, we're gonna have our own national championship because we know we're never going to. We are, plain and simple, Texas State is functionally ineligible to be the college football national champion. Like, they could go, if they went 13-0 this year, well,
with the expansion
playoff, they get in the
might.
playoff, but they probably get like a 7 seed. They go on the road and they play Michigan State well, Michigan State's a bad example because nobody likes them. Michigan.
Trash.
They'd play Michigan in Ann Arbor, right? Michigan in Ann Arbor, and they would, and at that point you are overmatched.
Right.
Because, and not from a coaching perspective, and I would say not even from a personnel perspective, but from a resources perspective. That they are able to go out, and especially with NIL, go out and get a quarterback and pay him, $100,000 a year to be their quarterback. Texas State just doesn't have that.
And you want to take it a step even further of, say they did split apart. I guess say they didn't split apart. But the other thing that is going to get even more wild, which is like the big point of conversation right now in college football, is the fact that if G5 programs have to start looking at their roster buildup of it being guys that are only going to be here for 2 years, that will affect the high school ranks as well, because you're not going to try and bring in kids that you can develop and you can go. It's going to be more of those situations. And some coaches do this of, we're going to hit the transfer portal hard and we're going to bring in guys that can give us 2 years and then get out, because we're not interested in bringing in the next set of guys and really developing them.
We'll move on here in a moment, but there's one person that upon kind of developing this segment, thinking about this segment, that I thought about a lot, and it's Jake Spavital.
Yep, and that's exactly where I was going with that.
Jake Spavital, former coach at Texas State. And you remember there was a couple years ago where he took one high school kid?
One.
In a class?
I think 1 year he didn't take any.
He might have taken 0.
Yeah.
Correct. And understandably, that drew the ire of a number of people. The THSCA was not happy. High school coaches were not happy. They're like, hey, you're supposed to be, you're Texas State. Why aren't you taking Texas kids, high school kids? And I don't want to put words in Jake Spavital's mouth, but I believe his thought process was, well, I'm not going to be a farm system for somebody. I'm trying to win.
Yep.
I'm trying to keep my job. And so there are these competing incentives.
Yeah, because you have the Jeff Traylor method of taking all high school kids, basically, coach them up, having success. And then there was the other ones of, no, we're just going to pull some people out of the transfer portal.
Anyway, the sands of college football are shifting, and I'm not sure the G5 is going to end up in a better place. So, something to keep in mind.